This place has an imagination described as fiery, magnificent, and tender. It has beautiful scenery in 40 shades of green, including golf green. But best of all, there is a local saying that God created time. He just gave this place more of it. So you have to slow down and enjoy it, which is why I've come to Ireland. I'm touring the north and west of Ireland, starting in the lively city of Galway and across Galway Bay to Inishmore, the largest of the Aran Islands. I'll see the landscape that inspired the poetry of W.B. Yeats around Sligo and head into Northern Ireland for a round of golf at Portstewart, a look at Ireland's most popular attraction, the Giant's Causeway, and along the spectacular Antrim Coast Road to Belfast. This beautiful land has had more than its share of war, famine, and poverty. There were 8 million Irish before the potato famine. There are only 3.5 million now. But the past decade has seen a remarkable economic turnaround. For the first time in its history, people are moving to Ireland. Galway is a great example of Ireland's rebirth, even if they call this city the ambition killer, because once people come here, they never want to leave. Galway is a lovely place on the west coast of Ireland, dating back to medieval times. In the 90s, it was the fastest growing city in Europe, so it took part in the Celtic Tiger boom, full of young people, a wonderful place to walk around. My guide is local bookshop owner Tom Kenny. Isn't that great? They're singing Van Morrison. This is such a fun place.
Well, why not? It's a very lively town. I mean, it's a very much a young people's place. And what would have been a fairly drab limestone streetscape now is full of life and colour and flowers and noise and music and buskers and singers. Some of them bad, a lot of them very good. And we kind of lurch from one festival to another, winter and summer. So it's non-stop activity and fun.
Galway is full of buskers, from the sublime to the pathetic. It's a great song you got going.
Well, I do request you can have plonk plink or plink plonk. Which you prefer?
Do you get a lot of paper cuts with this guitar?
Well, no, do you know at 9 o'clock this morning this was just a cardboard box. It was just a piece of cardboard.
You have so much talent, I can't believe it.
Do you want to do a duet?
Well, do you know any Van Morrison or U2?
No, I know plink plonk or plonk plink.
Do you think anybody will give us money?
Well, listen, I'm sure they will. Listen,
okay.
When I do that, you say plink plonk, okay?
Okay.
Plink 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 plink.
Plink plonk.
Plink 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 plink.
Plink plonk.
Plink 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 plink.
Plink plonk.
Big finish. Plink 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 plink.
Plink plonk.
Thank you very much. I was the plinker, you were the plonker.
Now here, this is a Galway landmark. Your family bookstore.
Others will have to be the judge of that. Yeah, it's here since 1940. It was started by my parents.
How many books have you got in there now?
We would have about 750,000 volumes, I would say.
And you sell them all over the world?
We do, yeah, happily, to literally every corner of the world.
If you buy one thing in Ireland, it has to be a sweater. I'm with Anne O'Moya in the family shop on High Street in Galway, specializing in this knitwear, which, you know, is so well known around the world as sort of signature of Ireland. But you say you're concerned it may be dying out.
I'm afraid it will in Ireland, because I have a very large number of knitters working with me now, about 200 women who are great creators of Aran knitting, but they're getting older. One of my knitters is aged 87 and she's knitting away in County Mayo. But I have very few knitters coming to me now under the age of 40. And I think it's only a matter of a few years before we let it all go.
But now machines are doing it.
Well, no machine can do this. There is no machine that can do such complex work. They can do some, but they can't do this. And machines cannot make even the little mistakes that some of my knitters will make. It takes a commitment of about 200 hours to make one sweater. And that may be part of the problem, that people will not give 200 hours now to one sweater.
I'm off to the home of those classic rugged knits. The Aran Islands are one of the treasures of Ireland. They are remote, so you have to take a 40-minute ferry ride across a blustery Galway Bay. Depending on the weather, you might need a seasickness pill. Inishmore is the largest of the Aran Islands. It is full of important archaeological sites, miles and miles of amazing dry stone walls. The people here try and hang on to their traditions. They speak Gaelic here, knit some of those sweaters. Fishing is the main industry, a difficult one, although tourism is the second biggest industry. And I think they're famous for their wind, too. The Arans are beautiful in a barren and wild way. Their isolation fostered a tough and independent people and a long monastic tradition. The 7 churches were founded by St. Bracken between the 6th and 7th centuries. It was the golden age of the Celtic Church, keeping the world enlightened while the Dark Ages swept across the rest of Europe. It is a lovely way to spend a day, among the ruins alongside a spectacular coastline. There is just one thing missing from these islands, and I'm going to have to head north to find it. 4.
That's all you wanted.
I hope it bounces off the road.
That's all you wanted.
The Antrim Coast Road is one of the great drives in the world. The views are spectacular, like 400-year-old Dunluce Castle perched on limestone cliffs, and seaside resort towns nestled between green and blue. At the end of the drive is the Giant's Causeway, which is Ireland's top tourist attraction and the country's only UNESCO World Heritage Site. The utter strangeness of this geological phenomenon and the bizarre regularity of the 37,000 basalt columns that reach into the sea towards Scotland have created some classic Irish legends. This is one of the most extraordinary things you'll ever see, the Giant's Causeway. And Ken McElroy is here with me, playwright and guide, to explain how this happened, truthfully.
Yeah, well, basically local legend has it that Finn McCool actually constructed this so the Scottish giant could get across here so that they could do combat. When the Scottish giant approached, Finn could see that he was a much bigger man actually than he was, and being no real hero, he ran into his own house, lifted the baby out of the cradle. He said to his wife, "Look, I'm getting in, pretend I'm the baby." And immediately the Scottish giant crashed into the house. "Where's this guy, Finn McCool?" And Finn's wife, playing with a pretense, said, "Get out of the cradle, son, and go and get your daddy." And when the Scottish giant seen the size of the baby, he ran back to Scotland saying, "My goodness, what size must his father be?" ripping up the causeway as he went.
So this is what's left.
This is what's left of Finn's causeway to Scotland.
Geologically, though?
Geologically, we're told that this was actually formed by volcanic activity 60 million years ago. And it was a very slow cooling down process of the molten basaltic lava that actually produced these trace fractures in the rocks, producing these
weird
many-sided
steps.
columns.
Yeah, it's so extraordinary.
So which of the two stories do you prefer?
I'm going for the big baby.
Yeah.
You really do feel like you are in the land of the giants. Now here is something I've always wanted to do, golf in Ireland. The Port Stewart Golf Club is a classic Irish links course.
Well, you know, you picked the right sort of a morning for it. Good morning for golf.
I think it's about a 50-stroke
Well,
wind.
this is a gentle breeze.
How great is this? I have a caddy, Ray Kilgore, going to show me what to do on the course. Hey, Sean, we've found someone to play with us, Sean O'Kelly. Morning. So we're heading off on the first tee at Port Stewart.
Well, Valerie, we're very glad you're here. All I can say is I keep telling my wife what to do and she never does it.
I'll do
Please
everything
do
you
what I
tell
say
me.
today.
I'm not a good golfer. So what do you think with
Well,
this
I
one?
think you're not going to make the green.
Uh-huh.
Go for the top of that big tall hill.
Top of the hill.
Okay.
Okay. All righty. Just go for the top of the hill. Am I lined up? Okay, let me just practice one. Whoops. Oh, I sort of missed the hill. Yuck.
Oh, Valerie. Oh, Valerie, what have you done?
I don't know.
We've got a bad lie.
No kidding.
Yeah.
All right.
All we can do is try and hack it out, hack it towards the green.
Okay. So it wasn't perfect. It is so beautiful, but how the heck do I get through there?
You don't think it's like an alcoholic, it's just one step at a time here. Forget about the hole, just get your drive away. All you want's 100 yards out of this drive.
All right. Nothing there at all.
But Valerie, stay away from the left or it'll spoil your holiday.
Oh, I'll bear that in mind. Okay. Let's just do that.
That's all you wanted.
I hope it bounces off the road.
Shots down here. A short shot now onto that green. The only danger is you can see them in the 3 bunkers around it. Please don't put us in the bunkers. Please don't put us in the
What bunkers?
Well out.
Hey, that was good.
That's a better shot.
That's okay. All right, that's it.
Last putt. What line do you see there?
I'm not very good at reading lines.
Well,
Now, hold on. Is it going to go that way?
Is that the way you see it?
Yes.
Put those on and try it.
That helps. Okay. Dead straight. Okay. Woohoo!
Great shot.
Well, what can I say? It's such an easy game.
Absolutely. You enjoyed playing.
Raymond, you were a treat, and
I
playing in
enjoyed
Ireland
walking with you.
was just a joy.
Thank you,
Yep.
thank
It was a good walk, made even better.
Well, Mark Twain was wrong. Okay.
This was so
Thanks
much
again,
fun.
Valerie. Thank you
I
again.
loved it. I think I need a drink now. And what luck! We're in whiskey with an E country. Proceed directly to Bushmills Distillery. I'm sitting here with my pal Leonard McLean at Bushmills, the oldest licensed distillery in the world, going back to 1608, probably the envy of all of you, about to do a tasting.
Yes.
But I don't like it.
Oh, you will by the time you finish.
I'm sure.
We're going to convert you, Valerie.
The enormous pity of all this is my ignorance of the finer points of whiskey. This is some of the best stuff in the world, wasted on a woman who doesn't even like hard liquor. How do you taste whiskey?
And basically, when you're tasting it, it's like a good wine. You look at the colour.
Okay.
You nose it. Nice deep sniff. Very sweet. That sweet aftertaste. That just warms the cockles of your heart as it's going down.
I feel my cockles warming.
Now with the blended Scotch, now in Scotland they tend to blend a lot of whiskies together to get a blended Scotch. This could have 40 or 50 different whiskies in it.
You saying it's not as good as Irish whiskey?
Well, we taught them how to make the stuff. And they're getting there. They're going to get it right one of these days, aren't they? There's that smoky, peaty aroma, that smoky aftertaste.
That can't be a best-selling thing. You know what I'm thinking, though? You know what I'm thinking? I got really drunk on scotch when I was 18. I had some very bad friends, and I never touched a hard liquor after at all since then. That's why I hate that taste. Ew, it's all coming back to me in a hideous flashback.
I'll stick to the Irish then.
I think I'll stick to Guinness. Or better still, just take the air around Lough Erne. From there, it's no time to the lovely town of Belleek, which straddles the border between the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland. What they're best known for is Belleek pottery, which has had a factory here making perry in China since 1859. The best known stuff they do is this very delicate lattice work with flowers and stuff all over it. How do they make this?
My name is Enda Farry, and what I am doing at the moment is I'm brushing the ware, preparing it for the first firing.
Guess you gotta have good eyes, though.
Yes, you have.
But your glasses are looking dirty, Enda.
I just haven't been too busy this morning, Valerie. See, that's what has happened.
Too much dust floating around. So John is, what, a flower maker?
That's right.
Is that your title?
That's the title.
Official flower and shamrock maker, Belleek, China. Is that the professional tongue trick?
That's it.
And you're done? Oh, that's so great. Can I take it home?
You can, yeah.
A little souvenir. You just have to, I'll have to get someone to paint it green for me. Hey, John, great. Thank you.
No problem.
This is Yeats country. The town of Sligo lies just beyond this imposing mountain called Ben Bulben, a name that resonates with people who love Ireland's greatest poet. I'm with John Flynn of Sligo. What's the significance of Sligo?
It abounds in myth, in folklore, in romance, and in beauty. And that is reflected in quite a lot of Yeats' early work.
Well, how lovely that he's buried here. And it's a beautiful tombstone, very simple.
He asked for it. No marble, no conventional phrase, but on limestone quarried near the spot by his command, these words are cut. Cast a cold eye on life, on death, horsemen pass by.
This is almost a cliche. It is so perfect, an Irish rainbow. You think I'll find a leprechaun and pot of gold at the end? Belfast is a friendly, prosperous city where the British influence is evident, not surprising since it is part of the United Kingdom. It was always the economic engine of Ireland, but was infamous for its social and political problems, known as the Troubles. During the Troubles, there was a security perimeter all around the city centre, which you had to go through. It was like a turnstile, and they'd search you, they'd search cars. You couldn't leave your car unattended here or the army would blow it up. And the stores had their own searches before you could go in. But since the peace accords, all that has changed, and there's a huge amount of rebuilding going on. Belfast used to be the biggest shipbuilding centre in the world in the glory days of the Harlan and Wolff dockyards. 32,000 people worked here in World War II. Now they're locked up and being converted to technology parks. The most famous ship ever built in Belfast was the Titanic, and this monument at City Hall is to the men who went out with the Titanic to make sure she was working okay, including the designer Thomas Andrew, who went down with the ship. They're a little sensitive. They like to say she was fine when she left here, and they haven't really capitalized on the interest in Titanic, but there are some plans to build a museum. The Good Friday Peace Accords have diffused a lot of the tension, but reminders of the Troubles are everywhere, including these political murals. Mural art became a really popular way for extreme communities to present their extreme points of view politically. And so you've got quotes from Oliver Cromwell in this loyalist neighborhood, and of course, the ever-present picture of King Billy and the Battle of the Boyne. These murals have become tourist attractions, a photo op for these Swedish travelers. On the Republican side, you find murals depicting hunger striker Bobby Sands or commemorating historic events of Irish independence, like the 1816 uprising. Whether you're discussing politics or history or golf, the best place to do it is in the pub. I'm in the Snug, having some good crack, where perhaps I should translate this lovely little cozy area, good crack of course being good fun, in the Crown Liquor Saloon, which is a gem of Victoria Anna. It's such a beautiful gin palace, as we like to call it, that the National Trust took it over. And the National Trust is the organization in the UK that looks after historic buildings, and this is the only pub that they have. Anyway, a little Belfast ale, what could be more perfect? Sláinte. Sláinte. You can't talk about Ireland without talking about the Irish. The geography is beautiful. It's as green as advertised, and for good reason. But this country is entirely defined and animated by its people, who are the friendliest and most charming people on the planet. Obviously, their character and their history are complex. There's a very poignant line that to be Irish is to understand that in the end the world will break your heart. But along the way there will be laughter and drinking and much poetry. It is true that there are no strangers here, just friends we have not yet met. I have loved the people I've met here, and there's no end to them. Okay. Berlin, Dubrovnik, Dublin, Australia, Cook Islands, Lebanon, Morocco, Panama.
Mrs. Pringle, how are you doing
Is
here?
it time for my flight?
What are you talking about? You're in Toronto. Go home, you're finished.
Come on. I'm a little confused.
That's
I'm
okay.
finished?
Yes. You're finished.
You can go home now.
Thank you.